It is December 2022. My name's Alison and this is Pilates Leeds, and thank you so much for tuning into this YouTube clip. I'm going to, in a minute, lie down on my tummy and show you the tummy down spine extension exercises. But spine extension is a bit jargony, isn't it? So there's sort of three ways to describe it. You've got reverse curl of the spine, which I think sound, well, do you know what? I think maybe they're all a little bit scary. Spine extension is the technical term. Reverse curl is the literal description of what it means. And sometimes you hear the phrase back bend as well. But the thing about that is it makes it sound like you need more curl than you really do. But nevertheless, those terms are really interchangeable. So why do spine extension exercises? Well, there's a number of reasons, and they're so important I'm just going to quickly list them. Firstly, the spine needs to be kept moving in all the planes of movement. So you've got forward bending, side bending, back bending, and rotation. We need to work on all of them. It's really, really important. So the converse of that is if we get stiff, particularly in the upper back, it can be a cause of lower backache, because if his upper back isn't moving so well, you can end up overworking the lower back. And some of our bodily processes are just better if we're more free around the spine. Two obvious examples are walking. When you walk, you naturally rotate with the arms swinging. Now, it's not back extension, but it's just an example of something that we do all the time that's better if we're less stiff in us backs. And another one is breathing. So when you breathe, the rib cage and the spine expands and contracts a little bit. So if you're stiffer, even the breathing is not quite as efficient as it might be. Two final reasons for extension. So briefly, bone density and keeping the spine strong. If you back bend from the floor, you're loading the muscles at the back of the body and challenging the vertebra, keeps them healthy, helps the bone density. And finally, and just as importantly, we all kind of get the idea of us tending to stoop forward, and we think of that as poor posture. Well, the converse is true, that the idea of standing tall is kind of better for us. So keeping the body relatively extended, so rather than back bending, actually it's the sort of halfway point, if you like, between forward bending and back bending is relative extension, and extension exercises help to keep us more upright as standard. That's enough talk, so let me crack on with the exercises. But before I lie on my tummy, I can't talk about reverse curling the spine without talking about cat stretch. So in some ways this is the most accessible reverse curling exercise. So classically it's done in all fours from neutral, so you bend the spine one way and then you bend the spine the other. If you have wrist issues, this can be done on your elbows. If you have knee issues, don't fear. You can, or don't give up. You can use a chair or a desk. It is harder, but it is not impossible. I get people to put their hands on a chair or desk, bend the knees, and curve one way, and then curve the other. So that's cat stretch. And while I'm putting this chair away, let me just mention something else. Although I'm talking today about reverse curling the upper back, some of you will have an issue where you need to reverse curl the lower back. Now the lower back already naturally reverse curls, and I'm a champion reverse curler of my lower back. I have a tendency to tilt my pelvis. But if you're the opposite, and my apologies for not demonstrating this very well, but you're more of sometimes it's called a tail bend tucker or tucker under, so you're in a bit of a flat back there, then a great exercise for you just to reintroduce that curve, as well as cat stretch, is pelvic tilt. How good is that? The marvellous pelvic tilt is great for creating a lower back curve, and I'll pop a clip on the end of this one about pelvic tilting. Oh heavens above, just one last bit of talking. Okay, so when you are trying to sense your spine back bending, very broadly speaking, people sense one thing or the other if they're lying on their tummies. They either sense curve from these things, the collarbones and the top of the sternum, or that's meaningless and they're more of a, I'm feeling my spine reverse curl and curve back on itself people. So you might find you're one or the other, and I'll try and cue both of those things. So if you're thinking collarbones, what's all that about? There goes my phone. It's to using the front of the body to cue what's happening at the back. We have diamond press, dart and airplane. I'm not doing swan dive or swan dive prep. In Pilates terms, swan dive or swan dive prep is the very poster child of extension exercises, but I'm going to omit it simply because I want to very much focus on things that isolate and get the movement in the upper back rather than the whole of the back. So I'm going to start with diamond press. Yeah, so it's a nice one because it's passive. You're going to use your shoulders to give you an assist. So you're going to lie on your tummy. Your diamond is fingertips, elbows and shoulder blades. You can rest your head on something, but for clarity, so you can hear me, I'm not going to use a head pad. So my advice is to put this into 2 stages and use the breath and the ribs. So start by simply breathing. And then, because we're going to use the expansion of the rib cage to assist the extension of the spine. The breathing in, the expansion of the rib cage helps to extend the spine. So what we're going to do is get into the zone of the breathing and then kind of moving swiftly on. Breathe in and feel that you can puff out your rib cage. Puff it out, inflate. I always think of frogs and whatever that thing is that frogs inflate when I'm doing this. So that's the second phase. And the third phase, breathe in, inflate the ribs, and then press gently with the hands, elbows, and sense the head, but importantly, the collarbones and the top of your breastbone drift up. For those of you sensing the spine, breathe in, inflate the ribs, and the top of the back reverse curls. It curls back on itself like it could touch your bottom. Keep it small, team, keep it small. Otherwise, the temptation is to bypass the whole of the rib cage and move from there, which is into the lower back. So, breathe in, inflate the ribs, reverse curl through the collarbones and the top of the sternum or the upper back. Hands give you a gentle assist and then you soften back down on your out breath. Because we're stiff in us backs, even gentle dart can be tricky. So do you know what? Here's the positive thing. Just lying there and breathing and inflating the ribs will help because you get a little bit of extension when you do that. And you can also, if you've got a ball, you can use the ball to give you a prop over which you can more overtly move. So you've got the squishy ball. It will need to take a bit of load. You can't just use any old ball like a football, like a proper Pilates softball. And then your elbows are more out to the side. And then breathe in, puff out the ribs and feel the top of the breastbone of the collarbones peel off the ball. Here I would use the front of the body as a cue, and then you curve back over. It is excellent, it's one of my favourite ball exercises, but some people find this terribly uncomfortable. So if you find the pressure of the ball is uncomfortable, that is normal. Don't beat yourself up over that. It's not the exercise for you. So that's diamond press. Passive, rib cage inflating, gentle movement in the very top of the back. So now we're on to dart. Now dart is a bit more active. So in order to teach dart, I need to give you just the arm thing on its own. So here is scarecrow. I think American scarecrows must be different to British ones because classically it's taught with bent elbows. This is not really an extension thing, but just wiggle your pelvis and your bottom to relax the hips, the bottom and the top of the thighs. On your little finger, thumbs up. And this is just the arms. It's to get us into the arm zone here. Alternate arm lifts. Team, do not be surprised at how hard this is. Why? Because we're a little bit tight in the front of his chest. So it's a great exercise in its own right, this scarecrow exercise. No lower back. Sort of, I'm going to have to take that away. It sort of looks like that. No lower back, not for this. Here's the real challenge. Have the arm parallel lifting as opposed to leading with the elbow. If it feels easy, you're possibly doing that. I've got to put my head pad away so you can hear me, but you want the head relaxed and free of tension for doing this. If you're feeling more adventurous, then both arms at once. Don't have to lift high, it's just the lift. It's that retraction of the shoulder blades, squeezing together the shoulder blades. In dart, the arms are going to be down, so practice the arms of dart on their own. Palms up, just the arms. Levitate the arms and then roll the shoulder blades together. Take the upper arms, the wrists and the hands together. Quite a difficult thing in its own right, and it feels weird in the arms because you're not engaging this thing, the tricep, but the rhomboid and actually the latissimus dorsi, your big back muscle. So that last bit was the arm bit of dart. So you're still thinking collarbones or top of the back, but this time the arms are helping you, but in a different way. So still breathe in, puff out the ribs. Slide the collarbones and the breastbone forward up your head as well. Levitate the arms. Roll the shoulder blades together and reach forward and up with the top of the back and the collarbones and the sternum. And here's the thing, no work here. That is so hard. It's much easier just to go like that. Much easier. We know these lower back muscles are strong. We know we can do that. But we have to strip that out and slide the head, the neck, the collarbones, the top of the breastbone forward, levitate the arms, draw the shoulder blades together. As I say, you can practice the arms on their own. Terribly, terribly challenging, but ever so helpful. So in the first one, it was cueing reverse curl, which is correct. The second one, I found over the years, rather than cue that, it goes into the lower back. It's almost like a slithering snake. You're sliding forwards and up. You're getting length to achieve extension, back bending, rather than lower back work. And we're trying to strengthen and get strengthen the spine bones and the muscles of our upper back where we need it. So that is dart. A little note on the head. The head will go like nobody's business. So notice I have been cueing the upper back. Just be mindful that you're not doing a bit of a head flick. If you do these exercises and you're looking forward and you can see the skirting board or almost your bookcases or, the kind of knees and thighs of someone walking into a room, right? Chances are you're in your neck. And so just when you thought it couldn't get any harder, we've got to try and bypass the neck a little bit and as upper back, both of those things move and get the shy, stiff bit in the middle. And finally, if you're feeling really adventurous, Airplane is basically dart but harder. So we're still darting forward in his upper back, but you're getting more load through the arms. So the arms are less of an assist, they're helping you here. And in Airplane, you are coming up, you're slithering forward, extension of the upper back, and then you're moving your arms and adding them as load. Still, we're using the upper back, not the lower. Sometimes I have a little feel to check there's no work there. Arms back, body back. Just going to move a little bit forward, I'm in the way. So here we go again. So sometimes what I do is I relax out through my thighs, check my lower back's not overworking. If it feels ridgy, soften your bottom, bring your pubic bone slightly up, relaxed here, no work, no effort. Okay, levitate the arms. At this point, almost as if the arms are going in the opposite direction to your breastbone and collarbones. Head going along for the ride, no life of its own. Sweep the arms round, staying in the upper back extension, nothing lower, and then come back round, relax down. That last bit is so important. Like all exercises, we can almost wind ourselves up like a coiled spring. So you sort of, so in the moment of doing all those things I've been cueing the kind of up phase, the in phase, and I have neglected, so I'm sort of doing it at the end, that you are going to breathe out and soften back down. They are tricky, but not airplane, but the others are relatively gentle. They'll bear considerable amount of repetition, at least 12 repetitions. If you're feeling it in the lower back, you're probably working it. So take it back down, keep gentle, and above all, keep trying. They are so, so useful. So that's the end of the clip. Thank you so much, as I said, for watching, and I'll see you in another month or two. Bye-bye. Hi there. I do hope you found this clip useful. We've got plenty more on the site, and for now I've suggested another one for you to watch. If you want to know more about what we do in Leeds, then do visit the website at pilates-leeds.com, and right now you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we can do this all again next month. Cheerio!